Now, obviously, they need to target players coming off at the end of 2026. One of those is Payne Haas. Freddie, would you be building a club around him?
Start with the bloke over our shoulder, Greg Florimo. He's been a part of this club since it stopped and has been at the forefront of their charge back into the competition. So there's one thing Mal Meninga will do, is make sure they've got like a couple of identities from that North Sydney area. But on the field, I think Payne, he's just so dominant through the middle. Like I said before, front rows are so important.
It'd be difficult for Payne. He's looking after his little brothers and he's got a young family. So to uproot them out of school and everything can be difficult.
Well, might also be nice. Might also, get their attention off it. I don't know. But I just think as a player, he's very dominant at the moment.
I think the Bulldogs model, the way they've bought their forwards, lightweight, hard-working, tough. The first bloke I would be buying would be Alec McDonald from Melbourne, one of those really tough forwards, can play in the middle, play in the back row. By all accounts, trains like a weapon.
Yep.
Those sort of players. Great work ethic, tough.
What about for you, Billy? Who would you be targeting?
I'd be looking at what the Dolphins have done and create standards. I spoke about the players like Gilbert, Max Plath, Ray Stone, the Bromwich brothers, Kafusi. These guys have created the standards for the footy club, and they went out and bought the best young halfback up and coming in the game. Now, I think that's the model that I'd be going with. I think the NRL can actually help set up this club, and I think they should help set up this club. I know that, like, everyone wants an even playing field and all that, but they're starting from a long way back, and they're also relocating over to the other side of Australia.
So
it's a long way.
dispensation in the salary cap?
I think the first thing I think that the club should be able to have access to negotiating early. Not wait until November 1 when every other club can negotiate. Start now, give them a head start there. And also, any player that has not yet played NRL, I think there should be a salary cap concession to that player. It might be 50%, it might be zero on the salary cap. So you can go out and you can recruit and develop these young stars of our game without having any salary cap implications, like a Isaiah Katoa that the Dolphins have did. And I know that the Dolphins didn't get that, but just because it didn't happen 3 years ago doesn't mean that it's right. So I think the NRL can help set this club up and then help set Papua New Guinea up to give them the best head start.
The AFL did that with the Suns and
they still do it.
The GWS. So they had, like you just said, they pretty much
Draft picks.
Yeah. And especially young players coming through. They took all the young players coming through. So just gave them not only what it did do, it didn't give them mostly a great shot in their first year, but it meant that 5 years later, they weren't just capitulating, they're actually getting stronger.
And it allows you to form a war chest, so to speak, to go after a Payne Haas and say, look, we can throw an extra couple of $100,000 to get that big marquee on-field player because we've saved a bit of money with our development guys and they're going to come through and they're going to watch these standard type players and that's going to help them go through into the NRL.
The one thing Mal Meninga said too is players from Perth. There's competition over there in Perth at the moment.
Well, Kalen was born in Perth.
Kalen was born in Perth. And so that's, as players come through, what you'll notice is a lot of the money that the government is contributing is actually going to facilities, improving competitions over there. So what you'll see is like you're seeing in Melbourne at the moment. Melbourne are now at, I think, 6,000 players. So, Perth are doing the same. They're just growing and growing, and a lot of the money's going to be to contribute to the growth of the game there. So that's where Mal will be getting a lot of these players in year 3, 4, 5 and 6.
I spoke to Billy Moore up at Origin 1 and he mentioned the night before about South African rugby union players. He said he woke up in the morning and had about a dozen calls off different clubs talking about pathways from junior rugby union teams to the Perth Bears, which is exciting because that's untapped over there in South Africa. And they're big, aggressive and tough, the South Africans.
Yeah. Well,
suited the rugby league.
At the very least, we know there are some players who have already put their hand up and are keen. Appy Coruscant said, yep, I'd head over. So he could be an option. Reed Marnie as well. We don't know if he might have to leave.
He's a koala bear too.
Yeah.
Got the koala bears.
He's got an ear like a koala bear.
Drop bear.
Lots of bears. All right.
Cuddly
that might
teddy
do us
bear.
on the Bears.